I rise in support of this bill. It has been a long negotiation between our tribal partners, the Mashantucket Pequot tribe and the Mohegan tribe, and the administration. Several years in the making, certainly robust discussions between representatives of the two tribes and the administration. And so the Southeastern delegation has been involved in those discussions to bring us to a successful conclusion. One of the big things that we look at, as many have spoken to today, is that our surrounding states have led the way in this and have learned some of the lessons that we will be able to take advantage of. And certainly our tribal partners have had the benefit of that as well. And I think that that is to our benefit as a state. One of the things that I want to highlight, though, is the revenue that is being drawn. About $83 million is what the Office of Fiscal Analysis estimates over the next several years would arise. And the important thing, I think, is for this body to understand, as we make that decision down the road and another bill that will come for this chamber, is the history of this revenue that goes to the Pequot Fund. So the very first year that the Pequot Fund was in place, it generated about $110 million in revenue, and a full 80% of that revenue went to our towns, $88 million. What we have seen over time is people in this body, the legislature, have decided to reduce the amount of money that's gone out to our towns, both as a percentage of what the gambling revenue type 3 gaming has generated, as well as the absolute dollar, to where we were, in the last proposal that was made to this body, was under $50 million. And so I would encourage the people of this body, as well as the one upstairs, to consider that as we make those decisions. And some of the agreements that were made with the host communities, as well as the communities that were impacted by the two tribal nations and the gaming interests that were there almost 3 decades ago, have resulted in substantial costs to those towns that are not offset by the amount of Pequot funding that comes to those towns. In the case of my town, just the policing alone is over $1 million a year, an additional cost based on where we were before the Mashantucket Pequots and Foxwoods opened, and then ultimately also the Mohegan Sun. So as we go forward, I would commend that some of the proposals that have been brought forward, as we get back up to that $88 million number out to the towns, and we compensate the host communities appropriately for the impact that they're seeing on the cost to host these great partners and to generate the revenue that goes out across the state, substantial revenue from the state to the towns that help support their budgets. So I encourage them, people's body, to consider that, encourage my colleagues to support this bill, and then we look and debate the revenue as we go forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.